Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out with the latest edition of FLEXpectations. It's not a standard FLEXpectations this week. We're still in what used to be the off-season of boxing, so there's not a great deal going on throughout August until Vasily Lomachenko, of course, visits to fight Luke Campbell at the O2 at the end of the month. But we're here at the English Institute of Sport, the EIS, in Sheffield, where a lot of you will know Anthony Joshua trains under Robert McCracken. But more importantly, certainly for our business today, is the GB amateur squad, who will soon be going to the World Championships, and then after that we'll be preparing for the Olympic qualifiers at the start of 2020, going forward to the Tokyo Games in the summer. I don't profess to be an expert on amateur boxing. If that's your thing, read as much as you can of John Dennon in Boxing News. He knows far more about the unpaid side of the game than I will ever know. Although I should clarify that it's not so much unpaid anymore with funding coming in. The amateurs actually don't do too bad and are able to concentrate on their training without taking extracurricular jobs, which is good. But we've had the pleasure today of talking, and you'll see this on the channel going forward. We've talked to a number of the hopefuls, selections for the World Championships, hopefuls for the 2020 Olympics. And the overall vibe is really, really positive, really optimistic. The amateur scene, and no criticism to people that came before, seems to have evolved and come a long way. From 10, 15 years ago, Rob McCracken has pulled everyone together. It's a lot more structured. Everyone's got their role. Everyone knows what they're supposed to do. And we spoke to one of the podium coaches earlier, Lee Pullen. His enthusiasm for the project was infectious, I must say. They've also got Mark Ellison on nutrition. They've got specialised S&C coaches now. The boxers room together in really nice places to live. They all kind of spur each other on. They all stick to the same kind of rigid discipline and diet in some cases. Especially with the Olympics coming up, a couple of the men's weight divisions were eliminated to make room for 2 new divisions for the ladies. There's still slightly more male representation in terms of the overall numbers, but it's a much needed change with the growth of female boxing, and you won't find many male boxers, at least publicly, who are bitter about the change. But it does mean that 2 weight divisions were combined for the men, and also the 49 kilogram, the light flyweight division, was eliminated entirely, forcing a lot of the smaller guys, including Galal Yafai, I'll get it right eventually. It's too many Yafai brothers for my liking to get this right. But yeah, Galal Yafai had to move up from 49 kilos, which no longer exists as an Olympic weight, to 52, which is bantam. And he said that was a bit of a challenge initially, but soon came to grips with it, as you'll see in the interview. So that's a big change. And also the fact that the World Championships, which start soon, are no longer a natural qualifying event for the Olympics as they were in the past. I think if you reach the quarterfinals you automatically qualified for the Olympics. That's no longer the case. There'll actually be continental qualification event early next year, and then if you miss out on that, there'll be a final world qualification event not long before the Olympics themselves. So a real change, because obviously IEBA no longer run the Olympic boxing program. There's a lot of controversy over some of their practices, so that's now changed. It's been taken away from them. A new task force has been set up, which we hope delivers efficiently the qualification program. At least there's been some clarity now on the weight divisions that are going to be at Tokyo, and also how to qualify for them. The concerns that were there over the corruption, there seemed to be a question at one point of whether boxing would actually appear at the next Olympics. Doesn't seem to have filtered down a great deal to the boxers themselves. They seem to have kept their noses to the grindstone, worked really hard, gone to various international tournaments, medalled in a lot of cases. In June we had the European Games, where some of our boxers did particularly well. Pat McCormack picked up a really impressive gold medal, just as an example. I think Lauren Price also did really well, and we had the pleasure of speaking to her earlier as well. So it's looking really good for the GB team going into 2020. There'll be a lot of competition, Kazakhstan, Azeris, Russia, Cuba, or even USA as well, who haven't been great recently, but a lot of the traditional powers are still very good, a lot emerging from the former Soviet bloc as well. So the competition will be there for us. But from what I've seen today, from the facilities, which are excellent, from the coaching, which Lee Pullen gave us an insight into, which seems amazing, especially with Rob McCracken bringing world-class pros into the gym to mix with the amateurs now, to the attitudes of the boxers themselves. It's just a refreshing change from some of the stuff we've seen in the past. Everyone seems really dedicated, really focused on the task ahead, and I've got higher hopes. What would be good to hear from you guys, because we haven't in the past covered a lot of amateur boxing on Seconds Out, for regrettably, I would say, and hopefully that will change going forward. But we'd like to know which amateur boxers, either in the UK or worldwide, heading into the World Championships, should we be looking out for? Who do you expect to make a real statement on the international stage. Let us know below who you like and why, and it'd be great to hear from you on that subject. I'll be back next week, Thursday, FLEXpectations, 4:30 p.m, and I'll be here for Reflections as usual, Monday, 4:30 p.m.